Slippy is definitely one of the worst stream seekers on the roster in my opinion, but I guess I can't be too upset as it does add a totally unique playstyle to the game compared to the rest of the cast, and that playstyle is to play like a straight up coward. Where many other seekers emphasize a more offensive and aggressive gameplay, Slippy has you running, dodging, and slipping out of the way of incoming enemy attacks. Slippy starts off with 80% reduced damage to all companions, along with minus 100 collision damage. So this means that all of your companions will be dealing a measly 1 damage with every attack from the start of the game. You do get a 100% increase to your knockback however, and 30 points to your treasure detection stat, along with a 5 bonus income for every mechanical bond that you have. And this is going to dictate how you play the game and earn money as Slippy. That said though, just because we start off with low damage on our Brigade doesn't mean that we're going to be ignoring them entirely. Quite the opposite, as we will need to depend on them in the later half of the run. Usually with a good Slippy run, you start seeing some decent numbers on your Brigade from about wave 7 onwards. As for Slippy itself, in wave 1 and 2, you can play aggressively to maximize your income from melee attacks, as you still be able to one-shot enemies here. But from wave 3 onwards, your only goal is to stay alive while picking up treasure chests, as this is going to be your main source of income. Mastering your knockback attack is going to be the key to surviving with Slippy. It's important that you don't knock enemies forward into the path that you're moving, as this can sometimes lead to instant death as you run into the enemies that you've just knocked back. Also be careful about knocking enemies into the wall, causing them to bounce back into you. So in terms of your goals as Slippy, let's break them down into income, survival and offense. For income, we're going to be depending on treasure, so the more we get, the richer we'll be. And Slippy is actually pretty competitive on this front if you manage to get the right items. The best early game treasure item is the gold plated ring, which gives you 40 treasure detection on your next wave. Getting this will pretty much guarantee you a 150 to 200 gold stage, as long as you stay on top of opening treasures, focusing on gold and purple treasures, which give large sums of cash. Getting this ring early on wave 2 and 3 will make for a pretty smooth run. For survival, you have a lot of options. We want as much health and armor as possible, with the best item to be on the lookout for being the spiky yoga ball, which gives us 6 armor and 10 speed. It's the only movement speed item in the game that you can get as Slippy, and seeing as the most dangerous enemies are the fast horned enemies, getting more movement speed is a game changer. The best health item is going to be the bottle of spring water. It reduces our collision damage by 1, but for every spring water we consume, we get +1 to health every time we buy a drink. This is going to be our primary method of scaling our health as Slippy. Of course, your typical sun hats, mittens and whatnot are all going to be great here as well. One incredibly powerful combo which seems to be missing though is the strawberry, which enables us to go into a luck into HP conversion playstyle. I don't know if it was just me being very unlucky, but I never once saw this item appear, so it might not even be on Slippy's loot table. Then finally, we've got offense. So you'll see on this run, I continue to pick up companions throughout the run, even though they deal very little damage early on. Having companions around does help early on to knock back enemies and slow them down a little bit as they chase you down, which makes it a little bit easier to kite. But as long as you continue to upgrade them, hopefully getting a few tier 2 companions by wave 6 or 7, you'll find that they start to do some pretty respectable damage. So much so that you can then pivot fully into a companion build during the later half of your run. So hopefully these tips make it a little bit easier for you to beat the game as Slippy. He is a fairly challenging dream seeker, so don't worry too much if you don't get it the first time.
They're here. here. Survive. They're here. Survived.
Wow, this is epic!
They're here. Survived. They're here. darkness unfolds. Victory.